Imagine waking up one day to find that everything in your life feels different. You look around at your job, your social media, and your daily routine, and something feels off. Although you cannot quite explain it, there is a deep-seated feeling that you are not supposed to be doing any of this. It feels as though you are living in a world that no longer aligns with who you truly are. Surprisingly, this realization does not frighten you. Instead, it brings a peculiar sense of peace, as if your soul is softly revealing, you have been asleep. This is the start of something transformative. It is not merely a fleeting mood or phase, but rather an early indication of a spiritual awakening. As this transformation begins, something deep within you starts to shift. You may find yourself yearning to break free from societal norms, but for reasons beyond mere escape. Your perspective on the world begins to change. You start noticing things that have always existed around you, but that you never truly observed, such as how people are perpetually in a rush, or how so many individuals perform versions of themselves just to gain acceptance and approval. You may realize just how overwhelmingly loud everything is, both literally and emotionally. The news is rife with fear. Social media is a breeding ground for comparison, and the workplace is saturated with stress. The world begins to resemble a stage with everyone playing their roles and adhering to scripts, yet you now see behind the curtain. In that moment of clarity, it dawns upon you that society is more focused on survival than on truth. While you may have once been fully immersed in this way of life, or even still be in certain respects, you now feel a compelling urge to withdraw. Social gatherings become overwhelming noise, small talk feels meaningless, and activities that previously energized you begin to seem superficial, shallow, and even exhausting. You are not becoming antisocial. Rather, you are becoming increasingly aware. You start to crave depth instead of distractions, truth rather than trends, silence over noise. This transformation is profound, yet can also lead to feelings of confusion, as few discuss this stage where your soul awakens and you find yourself feeling like a stranger in your own existence. As you become more spiritually aware, your sensitivity heightens. Your body attunes more keenly to energy, and your heart grows more attuned to dishonesty. You can sense when others are being insincere, even if their words sound pleasant. You begin to feel the drain of environments that were once neutral, even if nothing overtly negative is occurring. You recognize how much of your former life revolved around fitting in, seeking approval, and proving yourself worthy. Now, however, you desire freedom, a shift that alters everything. The desire to escape societal confines starts small. You might entertain thoughts like, what if I just disappeared for a while? Or, what if I relocated to a quiet place, far from all this chaos? You envision yourself immersed in nature, perhaps surrounded by forests or hiking in the mountains, a place where you can simply exist without pressure, noise, or pretense. This longing does not feel like fleeing. It feels like returning home, as deep down you understand that you were never meant to live a life steeped in stress, competition, and performance. Surviving is not truly living. Society, however, teaches us to chase after tangible milestones. Money, followers, achievements, and attention. It instills the belief that value comes from ceaseless action. Yet your soul is indifferent to these metrics. It yearns for peace, truth, and harmony with life. Once this awakening occurs within you, ignoring it becomes impossible. You may attempt to cling to old habits, but they will start to feel forced, heavy, and inauthentic as your spirit has outgrown that framework. This is also a time when you might feel a profound sense of isolation, as most of the world remains asleep, caught up in the routines of chasing, performing, and surviving. You might question yourself, what is wrong with me? Why am I not content with what so many others seem to desire? But here is the truth. There is nothing amiss with you. You are not broken. You are waking up, a state that sets you apart, but different does not equate to bad. Different is simply real. During this period of awakening, your previous life may begin to disband. Not in a dramatic fashion, but you may notice a waning interest in your job, find yourself feeling disconnected from friends or pull away from conversations that once thrilled you. Even entertainment, TV shows, music, social media may no longer captivate you. It is not a deliberate effort to change. It is an emergence of who you truly are. And as a result, the external world no longer resonates with your internal landscape. You begin to seek space to breathe, to explore a new method of existence, and that is completely acceptable. Wanting to escape society does not imply hatred towards the world. It signifies a deep love for your truth, a preference for peace over popularity, and a passion for authenticity over approval. You crave mornings devoid of stress, days free from relentless pursuits, and nights where you can relax without racing thoughts about tomorrow. You yearn for a life that is gentle yet meaningful, marked by simplicity, growing your own food, reading more, immersing yourself in nature, and engaging in genuine conversations with those who truly see you. Living with less, yet feeling more, is not laziness. It is alignment with your true self. You no longer wish to pursue what the world defines as success. You seek what your soul views as peace. As you distance yourself from conventional societal norms, a reconnection with your inner self emerges, the version of you existing before the world imposed its expectations. Your intuition becomes clearer, and you begin to recognize how much of your life previously revolved around fear. The fear of not being accepted, not being sufficient, not being visible. Yet now, you are actively choosing love over fear, truth over performance, and presence over productivity. Though this journey can be challenging, occasionally leading to feelings of isolation or self-doubt, you are all not alone. A growing number of souls are awakening, quietly, slowly, gently. They share the same desire to escape the clamor, reconnect with themselves, striving to live in a manner that makes sense to them. Upon meeting kindred spirits, something beautiful occurs. You feel understood, seen, and realize that there exists a hidden tribe of individuals just like you. You come to the realization that you do not need to entirely detach from society to find peace. Instead, you can redefine your relationship with this world, understanding that your value does not stem from societal expectations. You can still exist within the world, but you need not succumb to its pace or adhere to its rules. You gain the power to choose, to say no, and to create a life that aligns with your soul rather than algorithmic dictates. In doing so, you start to experience a form of freedom, one that does not appear on billboards, but rather resides in your heart when you inhale deeply and recognize that you are exactly where you are meant to be. You will observe shifts in your energy. A sense of calmness will envelop you, and you will rediscover joy in the little things. The sun warming your skin, the melodious sound of birds, the soothing warmth of tea in your hands. Life begins to decelerate, not in a dull way, but in a beautiful, meaningful manner where true joy dwells, not in possessions, but in relationships, and not in the future, but in the present. And remember how this journey began, with that moment when something within you gently urged, "This is not all there is. There is more." That whisper was not an attempt to detach you from life. It was a call to return to it, a life that feels sincere, peaceful, and aligned with your spirit. That whisper marked the beginning of your awakening, and once it resonates within you, your life can never be the same again. This whisper is the catalyst that we first spoke of, and by now, you comprehend its significance. Your soul is reminding you that you are meant for more than the noise. You are meant for truth and peace. So, if you feel the urge to withdraw, to unplug, to escape societal norms, know this. It is not a sign of weakness. Rather, it is your spirit expressing its strength. Trust in the process. You are not crazy, nor are you broken. You are simply awakening. And this awakening is your heart. Return to yourself. Do not resist it. Embrace it, for what lies ahead is not emptiness, but a profound freedom, a form of freedom that no one can bestow upon you or take away from you, one that resides within your soul. And that, my friend, is the true reason behind your spiritual journey and your desire to escape societal confines.